I will start from page Kuf Nun Vav. In the middle of that top section, it begins with the words It's about 7 lines from the bottom. Okay.
Bechiras, Vilo Bechiras.
What?
Lo
Bechira. Lo Bechira.
Oh.
You're saying that initially there's this Ahava that's called Ahava Musteris. Ahava Musteris. Musteris means a hidden Ahava. The translation in simple word is Musteris, it was hidden. However, you have to contemplate and see, why is this Ahava Musteris? Why is it hidden? And if it is hidden, in what way do we relate to it? What way does it have an effect on us? And what is the ultimate function of an Ahava Musteris? So we have to reflect on it and understand. Ahava is not a passive state. Ahava means, in fact, a functioning drawer, an active drawer for something. That's Ahava. Therefore, when you say Ahava Musteris, it does not mean a dormant Ahava, non-functional. The Ahava is fully active, except that it is active at a level that is not recognizable on the surface. The reason it is not recognizable on the surface is that it is, in simple terms, much higher than to be recognized in the world. But to focus in and identify it in our terms, and here's what I like really expose this in. Things that we encounter in the world or in our thoughts, in our emotions, things that we encounter are things which are on the functional level. Let me explain what I mean by encounter. When you enter a room, and the room is completely vacant, there's nothing in there, Yes, you are inside the room. You may not even be aware that you're inside the room. There's nothing there that makes you aware that you're inside the room. It's open space. Clearly, when you use intelligence, you recognize that here you are outside, not inside. But nonetheless, there's nothing in the room that calls your attention. If you, in this room, there were furnishings, so these furnishings are in the category of being encountered. In other words, it is not a primary presence in this room. It is something that has been brought into this room. There is something here in addition to the basic present, basic reality. Things that we encounter, we are fully aware of them, on the one hand. On the other hand, they are not what one would call the basic reality. Basic reality you don't encounter. Although you're within it all the time. And it is the most important aspect in your being, in your orientation. But you're not aware of it. Because this is something which is provided to you from above, and you take it, and it's taken for granted, so to speak. Abo musteres is in that category. The neshama recognizes only the godly reality. And it appreciates godliness in the most profound manner. Not only because godliness is what gives it a presence and gives it support, but it appreciates godliness for what it is. And yet, this ahava is musteres. You may not even be aware of it. It's extremely it's called hidden. It's the word just escapes me. It is subtle. And why is it subtle? Because you don't encounter it. In order to encounter something, you have to be outside of it. This is nothing that you can ever be outside of. This is something which defines your very life. The reason that I appreciate and I like to live, I want to live, is because of this Abba Musteres. Because I appreciate the godly reality. And life means to be with this godly reality. This is why this Abba is muster, is concealed. Which means it is not concealed away out of reach. It's hiding away. You can't reach it. You're experiencing it all the time. But you're not aware of it. So is a fundamental reality that you're not even aware that you have. In order to kind of give it some identity, I said we all have consciousness that we're not aware that we're conscious of it. Such as, for example, common sense. Can anybody define what common sense is? What is common sense?
Common sense.
You're going to define common sense? Go ahead, genius.
It usually goes with the idea of obviousness, being obvious.
What?
It usually goes with this very superficial notion of being obvious.
Of being obvious?
Yeah.
Oh, no. That's taking very superficial. That's not what common sense means. This is when you argue, say, oh, this is common sense.
Mm-hmm.
But the having consent, the sense of common sense is a very true union.
Okay.
Ooh. Common sense is a clear awareness of the significance of life and of the world, to the extent that you cannot avoid but knowing that there is a right and wrong. You're not to be taught that.
Like the subway car. Like the subway, getting in, getting out. When the doors open, you let the people out, you get in. There was that
No,
remember that thing?
No. It's much deeper than that.
Sure, but that's a starting point. But okay.
No, it's not. The starting point is that you have been placed in the real world with a real aim, with a real purpose, with a real mission. The minute you come into the world, you're not even aware of it, perhaps. There is some sense of responsibility. When you see something valuable, you will respect it. You will not dare destroy it. Why not? It itself will not protest. It's not hurt. Common sense is an extremely important aspect of human intelligence. Maybe it's called common sense is not to minimize it, but it is in order to denote how fundamental it is. You don't have to look for it. You cannot but see it. You could say that common sense is like a subtle, a hidden seichel. It's not a seichel that's hiding from you. It's a hidden seichel. It's a seichel that functions without having to be identified. And it functions in its hidden state. A person is always, at all times, aware of the reality of life and of the world, and a sense of responsibility to some degree. This Ava Musteres, so to bring it on back, it's an Ava to a Lakus. But it is so fundamentally real. It is so clearly, so deeply engraved in the neshama that it does not need to be identified in order to experience it. As we are saying, we find that inside if I can find quickly, Ava Musteres is actually is actually the effect of the makif. Makif is just completely above your own experience, your own mitzvahs. This Ava Musteres is actually, as we said, the makif of the makif, that which is makif the Neshama Yisrael, which it gives the Neshama Yisrael and gives the world a divine presence, not a worldly presence. It tells you that the reality of the world is divine, not worldly. And thus you have this tremendous draw and avo for Holocaust. But it remains musteres. The but is incorrect. It's not but. And it is so subtle and so real that it remains muster. You don't have to encounter it. So the but is muster comes into play when we start taking in terms of your practical life. Internally, inside the neshama, inside your own consciousness, you have the sense of what life is. And you love life. And you wouldn't give up a minute of life. An instant of life. But when it comes to conscious activity, you're not even aware of it. Like we know, a person can while away the time. Waste his time. How can you waste your time? Time is the opportunity for the neshama to fulfill its mission in the world. And yet we can waste our time. The reason we can waste time is because this inyan, that this reality of this time and the mission is muster. You don't encounter it as part of the very basic creation. You don't ever become aware of it. Even though deep down in the soul we know it's very clearly. That every minute of our lives is valuable. And we said many times, if you tell a person, give me a minute of your life, it's impossible. So this Ava Musteres is mustor, not because it's concealed, it's hidden. To the contrary, because it is so functional and so powerful and so real but you're not even aware of it. Like we always say, it's really very, very, very comparable, that we're not even aware of the fact that we live from air. I point out all the time, the air that we live from is not the air that we draw into our nostrils. The air we live in is the mass of air that we feel the life itself encompassing us, embracing us. We can't live by just drawing life into your nostrils. That's existence. That's not life. Life is a feeling of life all around you. And you take it for granted, not even aware of it. Not only you take it for granted, you're not aware not because you take it for granted, because that's the only way to live, not being aware that the possibility of not having it. Life is something which has to be a fundamental reality, and I'm not even aware that it's possible not to have it. That's when you can live.
Again, that's the only way to live in a state of being oblivious, in a state of not knowing this.
Being oblivious that it's possible not to have it.
Oh, but is part of the avoider and part of the point right here to become more aware of the levels that you're not aware of?
Okay. So this is what I'd like to explain. Not aware. Aware is something which has to be. The reality that shouldn't change. You should know that this is something which is given to you. You can never agree. You can never substitute the air pressure for air that you take into your nostrils.
Right. So part of the avoider here and part of the point is a degree of appreciation of this element that is not regularly thought about and never encountered.
All right. So this is very difficult to pin down. I understand where you're coming from, and I understand why you put it like this. Because in our terms, that's the only way we can identify things.
No, it's right. It's a side point. It doesn't need. But I've just often thought about it, because this is comparable to health in a certain sense.
It's not a question of appreciation.
Yeah.
It is actually to raise yourself up in your practical life to living at the level of the Alma status.
Okay, so that's a theme we have here of this sort of
But the Bechira,
of the Makif imbuing the Pnimi
the
or
Pnimata. A person has the Bechira to bring this down into his Seichel, which means, in simple terms, here it is. In simple terms, like this. Every minute of your life, what am I doing in terms of service of God? I cannot waste a minute.
right, and that's not that's a common sense stance.
You could call it common sense.
I mean,
it's a common sense of the neshama level.
Right, it's not a religious statement. It's an inner.
When you say religious, you mean an outstanding thing. It's
right, it's not a theological position.
No, it's a reality.
Yeah.
It's a reality. I don't want to waste a minute of my life. I don't want to give up a minute of life. That's a good way of exposing it. And I want to utilize it as a life on a living level. Which is at the level of when I appreciate what life is. Learning, davening, whatever everyone appreciates at their own level. The challenge is he has a bechira to bring this ahava. Now, please understand what the Rebbe is saying. It is not merely to confront oneself. Oh, why come you're wasting your time? You're wasting away your life. Not confrontation. This is actually to appreciate, to bring it into practical function. Like I said, we make a bracha. I want to be aware to make a bracha. We have halachas. We have halachas that define every part of our life. How are you supposed to get dressed? Which shoe comes first? What's the point in this? Because we are in godliness all the time. And we don't, chas v'sholom, to give this up. This is the bechira, to bring this makif level into the pnimi, into the seichel and midas. The seichel itself, not me superimposing it in the seichel, but the seichel should appreciate the reality, the godly reality in his life. The seichel should recognize that everything that he encounters in the world is not only divine creation, but it is divine as I'm encountering it. It has a divine element as I'm encountering it. This is the bechira. Okay, let's go inside. Beho bechinas kala. This is the bechina of kala. Why is it the bechinas? And kala? Kala means kala is a nefesh. The shorsh, where the nefesh is rising up to its source, umekoira, belibo even avshoy, umeoide mamash, in his heart and life, completely rising up to its source. And what gives it the power to do that? This is from the haora, from the inference of the bechina, the reflection of the bechina of ak. Ak is Adam Kadmi, which means the source of all sources, the source of all worldly existence. Sheyesh b'bchinas makif in Shomesh Yisrael, which is present in a makif level manner in the Shomesh Yisrael. And this li is b'bchinas kalez hanefesh limsei nafshe, so that it should affect the nefesh in a manner of kalez hanefesh, when the nefesh is actually giving up its worldly presence, and he wants to be incorporated in the makif, in the makif of ak. And this is the haora, the reflection of ak. I got a few minutes. Let me focus in on the word ha'ora, which we tried many times. Ha'ora, I'm sure you encountered it many, many times. Oir is light. Ha'ora means reflection of light. What's the difference? the effect of light. This ha'ora is extremely important because we encounter it all the time in Chassidus. How do we identify the principle of ha'ora? Before I get into the focus of it, I just want to explain an overall perception. Light, simple light. There are two levels of light, two effects of light. You could see light, simply recognize that there is light. Then there is the effect of light. As a result of light, everything becomes visible. When you're relating to the visibility effect of light, you're not thinking of light. You're thinking of the things that you could see through it. Light is then not a focus. It is then the function. The functional aspect of light is that it makes you see things. And you are interested in that which, the effect of light, that it makes you see things, rather than that it is light that makes you see it. This is the difference between oir and ha'ora. Oir is when you focus on the oir itself. Ha'ora is when you appreciate and you experience the effect of light. As we know, for example, if you drive a car and you want to drive by daytime, not by night, but if the sun shines straight into your front mirror, you can't drive. Why? You have so much light. I don't want light. I want the ha'ora of light. I want the effect that you to see things, not that I should see light. To see light itself is interfering with human activity. This is ha'ora. Ha'ora means seeing the effect of light. But light itself. Light itself is beyond our process. We can't process it. Perhaps we should put in a petition that should start a little bit earlier this blower.
We could
Huh?
do something to the clock,
Yeah?
slow it down.
No, I wouldn't dare do that. I don't want to. I want to ask for it. Okay, let's look inside now. The line begins Bechinas Ak. This is Mehaoras of Bechinas Ak. This is from the Ha'ora of Bechinas Ak. Not the Ora, but the Ha'ora, the effect of the Ak. Sheyesh Bechinas Maki Ben Neshama Yisrael. That is in the Maki. In the Neshama Yisrael, there is a Maki of Ak. It means there is a sense of a truth, of a reality. I don't know, I can't identify it, but there is a sense that there is a divine reality. And to incorporate this reality, which is called kala, where you want to actually rise up and live with that reality. Liz b'bchinas kalois hanefesh ulimis nafsh. That it should be kalois hanefesh. The nefesh should rise up from its limited state, and to dedicate oneself to to the divine matter. But he, however, this is behelem b'neshamas Yisrael. It is behelem b'neshamas Yisrael. What does behelem mean? Behelem means it is absolutely there, and we actually experience it, but in a subtle way. We don't know what we experience. We're not aware of it. Why aren't we aware of it? Because we don't encounter it. This is the fundamental truth, reality. But this is where the Bechira comes in. It is within the human capacity. To bring this down, from the Helem state, from this subtle state, El Hagilui, to a recognizable and to personal identity. If a person focuses it and reflects on the fact that, yes, indeed, the very basic, fundamental sense of reality that I have is actually this is a godly reality. Then he can bring this down to the point where he actually identifies his daily life with this.